I could be wild as a gypsy, doing just what I please. My back to the past and my thumb in the breeze. I might be free, but where would I be if I didn't love you? If I didn't love you. I could roll down a river and never come back. Ride on a rail till I run out of track. It wouldn't matter, that's a matter of fact. If I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, I'd never have found these sweet ties that bind without weighing me down. If I didn't love you, I'd have nothing to give. I'd spend a lifetime and never have lived if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you. I could sail the high seas with my stern to the wind, my mind full of memories of the places I've been. I'd still be waiting for my ship to come in if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, I'd never have found these sweet ties that bind without weighing me down. If I didn't love you, I'd have nothing to give. I'd spend a lifetime and never have lived if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, if I didn't love you. Hey everybody, I'm glad you're with us once again for another edition of Wariner Wednesday. I believe this is number 7, I believe. So I've been asked a lot lately, how long are you going to do this? And I'm going to do it as long as we need to do it. I'm going to do it until everybody kind of gets back to their normal lives or gets back to some kind of normalcy. So I'm going to continue doing it, and I'm glad you're with us and glad you enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. It's for me as much as it is you. And thank you guys for being with us. I've got a good bunch of tunes, I think, tonight for you. I want to remind you that if you want to go to Spotify, we've done a playlist of a bunch of the songs from the whole, all 7 episodes. You can find, just go to hashtag Wariner Wednesday Spotify, and you can see a couple playlists that we've put together. One of them is all the songs from the past 7 episodes will be from tonight as well. But it's my records, my songs that I did, but it's also thrown in there are some tunes that I've never recorded. So those versions will be the original artists or the people that influenced me to learn those songs or whatever. But those everything we've done on the Wariner Wednesdays is in this particular playlist. So go find that. And then also we did a deep cut Spotify too that's kind of cool. It's just a bunch of my tunes that I've written for a lot of people. These are some songs I know you've possibly never heard some of these songs because some of them are very deep album cuts, some things that artists that you wouldn't believe maybe cut these songs, and all tunes that I wrote, and that's an interesting playlist. It's pretty cool. That goes back a ways too. There's everything from I think Peter Tork from the Monkees up to Alabama to the Statler Brothers to a lot of cuts that I've had through the years. So it'll be fun to dig into that. And Sunday is Mother's Day, so I'll get into that a little deeper later. But happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. I'll say happy Mother's Day a little bit early to my mother-in-law, Kitty, who I believe is watching tonight. And the joke. There's always the jokes about the mother-in-laws, and the guys always going like, "Oh my God, my mother-in-law! Oh my God!" But my mother-in-law is the coolest, so I've really lucked out in that department. She's so cool, and that we could do a whole episode on her. She should be a guest with me because she's so interesting and funny and has done everything in the world. So anyway, happy Mother's Day. We'll get into that later, but all you moms, happy Mother's Day. And I got a song I'm going to do for you a little bit later. A little bit of, I won't dwell on the sad news of the week, but I do want to send out my condolences to the family of John Lancaster, his parents, and all of his bandmates and all of his good friends. We lost him this past week, 42 years old. Just a sweetheart guy and an incredibly talented musician. And also our pal down in Austin, Texas, he was 91, I believe. Ray Henning died. He was known as the godfather of the Texas music stores, and he really was. You couldn't believe this guy. His customers ranged from everybody from Eric Clapton to Stevie Ray Vaughan to you name it, all the Vaughan brothers and Ray Benson, everybody, myself. But condolences to the Hennig family, the heart of Texas music. The music scene won't be the same without Ray Hennig around, and he will live on though, and a great guy. I thought the world of him. I want to say too, talking about a little bit ago, we were talking about the musicians. We're doing something a little bit different tonight, and I hope you're cool with this. If we're going to do there's going to be a link where you can donate. A lot of people have asked me, "Hey, we want to donate to you." Well, I don't want you to donate to me. I don't want you to do that. But I do. If you want a link and you feel like giving a little bit, we got a link we're going to give this week to an organization called Music Cares, which they are really in need of some funds. And what they do is they help musicians in this town, in this city. There are a lot of, I can tell you a bunch of them. I know some struggling people that are hurting right now, musicians. One thing that makes it bad for musicians is they're classified as self-employed, in almost every case. And that gets them out of the category of really getting a lot of help, And so Music Cares is a great organization that helps. They helped my niece, Jessie, before she passed, a couple years ago, and they helped her a lot. And it's an organization that's dear to my heart. And if you see this link, punch it and donate anything you can. If you can't and don't want to or can't, that's fine too. I'm just glad you're with us tonight. But it's totally for Music Cares.
And make sure to put you in the comments.
Yeah, in the comments section. So Thank you, Karen.
They gave.
My producer, my wonderful wife, my much better half, Karen Wariner, is right there, and. Yeah, she's right about that. There's a comment section, and if you put hashtag Wariner Wednesday in care of Steve Wariner or whatever, they'll let me know too, and they'll tell me that the donation was made in my name. And so that's really great if you guys can do it. Or you can go to Grammy.com, and there's a link there too for Music Cares. You can do either one. But I think my guys, my gurus, Stephen and Stephanie Double S, I call them, I believe they're going to put up a link that you'll see, and so that'll be wonderful. I always get carried away with my shout outs, but I got a couple that I want to do. I love doing that. It's because through the week I get a lot of people saying, "Hey, say hi, say hi." So I mean, you can't, gosh, you could be doing that all night, but I do want to say hi. I talked to my good friend Dave Lawson in Indiana this past week, who's struggling and fighting a little bit with some health issues. So he's much better. So Dave, take care, and his wife Mary. I want to say hi. I had some messages on Instagram from the Noblesville nurses. I want to say hi and thanks to them. Also, Vanderbilt University here in Nashville. They're our go-to folks. They're wonderful. We always are grateful to them and what they do and have done for us and our family. And Weill Cornell Medical Center, Presbyterian Hospital in New York City. I did a deal with them and for them last week and played some tunes, and it was incredible. had some docs and nurses watching, and our cousins, Karen's cousin, Matthew and Alana and Lori were on board, and that's their hospital, Alana and Matthew Pearlstein. So we want to say hi to them. We had a great time last week. I hope they did as well. It was a lot of my portions of that was unrehearsed, unnecessary, and all that, but it was a lot of fun, and glad to be with you guys. And I want to say hi to a special lady down on the coast of North Carolina. Her name is Jean Miller, and she's a dear friend and a sweet lady. She watches every week. Her daughter is a good friend of ours, of course, Emily. And so, Jean, we love you, and you be safe down that way. We want to come back to the coast of Carolina real soon. And my cousin Phyllis Wariner, I talked to her today, so I want to say hi. So that's all I got right there. I want to sing you some old Steve Wariner songs, and I hope you're ready for some of those. I will say this, 21 years ago this week, now this will make you feel old because it certainly does me. 21 years ago this week, I had an album out, my second album for Capitol Records, and the album was called Two Teardrops. And I think it had some really cool songs on it. Wonderful musicians like Reggie Young and some folks on that record, and John Jarvis. But I thought I would do, Karen, you can jump in and help me with this story, but I remember Bill Anderson and I wrote the song Two Teardrops, and we were so excited about it. And we did not know at the time that it was going to be the title of the album, but I was so excited for to have this song, and that was going to be the start and the impetus of this album for Capitol. And I remember playing this song. Bill came over, we wrote Two Teardrops, and we were so excited, and I remember going in and playing it for the head of Capitol Records, Pat Quigley, who was
in our car.
Yeah, we played it in our, that's right, I didn't ever remember that. Weren't we sitting outside of Bridgestone Arena?
Yep, we were at different rehearsals.
We were at a rehearsal, yeah, that's right. And so Pat, the head of the label, came out, and we got in our car, and I said, Pat, I just wrote this cool song with Bill Anderson. I think it's a smash, or could be possibly. And so, and the lyric is, and I will brag and say, writing with Bill Anderson, man, what a lyricist. I mean, his body of work, I'm going to brag. I could brag all night on Bill Anderson, but his body of work, it's just incredible. And he's written songs for Lefty Frizzell all the way up through Brad Paisley and everybody in between. And co-written with Roger Miller, and him and Roger were best friends. But anyway, we wrote this song of a little story, and it's very poetic. It's very, very picturesque, and I could see an animated film of this song. Actually, I could see it, and so it's actually about two teardrops that speak to each other metaphorically. And so I remember playing it for Pat, and Pat's a wonderful guy. He's a great record guy and a great friend and super to me. I love Pat Quigley. And anyway, we played it for him, and the first words were, do the two teardrops have to talk to each other? And I thought for a minute, and I go, yes, Pat, they do.
Well, we both said it at the exact same time.
We both said, yeah, Karen and I both go, yes, Pat, they do, And so he goes, oh, I'm just asking. Well, Bill and Anderson and I laugh about this, but we played it for him. I played it for him, and then I played it again the next day, and he lived with it a little while, and he called me and he said, I really love this song, but I do not like I think you can write a better second verse. I don't even remember what the verse was now, the original. And I got to be honest, Bill and I, when I talked to Bill, we both probably had steam coming out of our ears, because here's a record label guy telling us how to write a second verse, And so Bill said, okay, well, I'll come over and if he wants it rewritten. He's like huffing and mad about it, and I was too. And so Bill comes over and we write the second verse that you would know if you know this song. It's the second verse about the circle of life. And so a baby is born, and an elder gentleman lost his wife at the same time a baby's born, and it's the circle of life basically. And so we wrote that, and Bill and I were just really happy about how that turned out. And we played it for Pat, and he was like, oh my gosh, that's what I wanted. And anyway, we still joke about that to this day. And Bill and I both say Pat Quigley made us better, made this song better. He pushed us to our limits and made us better, and I'll forever be grateful for that. But anyway, I'll do this song after I get a drink of water. I'll do this song. It's one of my, honestly, and I mean this, it's one of my favorite lyrics that I've ever been a part of. Now that I've built it up, I'll forget it probably. But yeah, I love this song. The title of my second Capitol album, which was out 21 years ago this week. Two teardrops were floating down the river. One teardrop said to the other, I'm from the soft blue eyes of a woman in love. I'm a tear of joy she couldn't carry. She was so happy she just got married. I was on her cheek when she wiped me away with her glove. I could tell from the look on her face she didn't need me. So I drifted on down and caught me a ride to the sea. The other tear said we've got a connection. I'm a tear of sorrow born of rejection. I'm from the sad brown eyes of her old flame. She told him they would be lifelong companions, left him with questions and not any answers. I was on his cheek as he stood there calling her name. I could tell he had a lot of my friends for company. So I drifted on down and caught me a ride to the sea. Oh, the ocean's a little bit bigger tonight. Two more teardrops, somebody cried. One of them happy and one of them bluer than blue. The tide goes out and the tide comes in, and someday there'll be teardrops again, released in a moment of pleasure or a moment of pain. Then they drift on down and ride to the sea again. Last night I sat in the waiting room. The nurse walked in and gave me the news. It's a baby girl and they're both fine. An old man sitting not 10 feet away just lost his wife, and he said to me, you've got a brand new angel and I've lost mine. I guess the good Lord giveth and the good Lord taketh away. And we both wiped a teardrop from our face. Oh, the ocean's a little bit bigger tonight. Two more teardrops, somebody cried. One of them happy and one of them bluer than blue. The tide goes out and the tide comes in, and a whole new circle of life begins, where tears are a part of the pleasure and part of the pain. Then they drift on down and ride to the sea again. Two teardrops floating down the river. Two teardrops floating down the river. Thank you, Pat Quigley, for pushing us on that. I want to tell you a quick story. I think it was about 1996, 95, somewhere in there. I was out in California. We were touring. The band was with us, all the guys on the bus, and we were touring we had a show in Bakersfield, California. We were going to wind up this particular night in Bakersfield and play a show. We pull into the city, and I get on the phone and I called my friend Buck Owens, and I didn't know if I'd catch him or not, but I called the station there, the radio station that he owns, and at the time he did, and I called and I said, we were playing a theater somewhere outside of Bakersfield, and so I called and I said, Buck, I'm going to be in town here after a while. Are you going to be around? I'd love to have lunch or see you. And he calls me right back and he says, where are you guys? And I told him where we were. And so Buck gets in his pickup truck and he comes down to meet me at the bus. And so he gets out and comes in the bus and says hi to all the guys and hanging out with us on the bus. And then he says, Steve, come with me. I want to show you my new place. I think this would have been about 95 because I think the Crystal Palace, which is Buck Owens' show place out there in Bakersfield, I think it opened in 96, I believe. But anyway, so Buck says, come on, man, I want to show you my place. It's not open yet. And so I get in Buck's truck with him, his beautiful pickup truck he had, and he drives me through the streets of Bakersfield, and we go over to the Crystal Palace, which was almost but not quite finished, and he takes me in and gives me a personal tour and shows me everything in the place. And he's got a showcase there. He's got all kinds of Buck Owens and Buckaroos, Don Rich's Telecaster and Doyle Holly's, all this stuff. It's Tom Brumley's steel, and it's just Willie Cantu, all the Buckaroos memorabilia, and a lot of Buck's guitars and stuff. And all that stuff's still there today. It's still, a lot of it's still there. And I gave Buck some of my art. He put it in there. It's still there. I played Bakersfield last fall, and I went to Crystal Palace, of course, played, and my stuff is still there, which really knocked me out. But anyway, I got home from that trip. We played a few more dates, and we worked our way back home across the country. And I get back home, and about a month later, Karen, as you recall, we get this box in the mail, and I go, what is that? And I open it up, and it's a guitar case, and I open up the guitar case, and it's this guitar was in the box. And it says here, it's one of Buck's guitars that he used to give these to some of his pals, but I love it. He actually had inscribed right here, you can see it, it's inscribed. It says, to Steve Wariner, one hell of a picker and singer, may your mountaintops be many and your Waterloos be few. Your friend, Buck Owens. And man, that just means the world to me. Unfortunately, this guitar was in a flood a few years ago, and I got to restore it back to its glory. But yeah, I know a little piece fell off right there, but it needs some gluing and some work. But I wouldn't take anything for this guitar, and that's his inscription right there. And it just knocked me out that Buck sent me this. And of course, Buck made these red, white, and blue guitars really, really famous, so when he was on Hee Haw. But he was a heck of a guy, and I played there many times, and Buck would always come out and hang out with us. And he was, what an icon in the world of country music. As a kid, I saw Buck play many, many times at that park I've spoken about over in Muncie, Indiana, that place called Mockingbird Hill Park. And we used to go there. I'm so grateful that my parents loved country like they did, because they would take us and we'd see everybody there. And I saw Buck Owens and the Buckaroos there through the early 60s and mid-60s many times, and wouldn't trade anything for it, seeing Don Rich and Tom Brumley, Willie Cantu, Doyle Holly, and all the Buckaroos. So anyway, I thought you might enjoy that little Buck Owens story there. Having said that, I might as well do a Buck Owens song, huh? I haven't done this song since I was a kid. Oh, the sun's gonna shine in my life once more. Love's gonna live here again. Things are gonna be the way they were before. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. I hear bells are ringing, I hear birds are singing. Love's gonna live here again. I hear bees are humming, and I know the days are coming. Love's gonna live here again. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here. Love's gonna live here again. No more loneliness, only happiness. Love's gonna live here again. Buck Owens. Oh. Not sure if I had to pick one Buck Owens song, what would be my favorite. I just don't know. He had so many great ones. Together Again was so good. I think because of that Tom Brumley steel solo was just so massive. And boy, Buck wrote all those songs. And Buck was a guy that was real generous with his helping young people, with advice. And I've talked to him many times about some business things, and he was very astute with his business. He knew what he was doing, that's for sure. There's nothing you could do that he hadn't been through 1,000 times, so. Tell you what, though, watching those guys, Buck Owens and the Buckaroos as a kid, a young kid at Mockingbird Hill Park, and sitting right by Tom Brumley watching those guys play, you can't imagine what kind of impression that made on me watching Don Rich playing that Telecaster. And I had to have a Telecaster. That's all there was to it, watching Buck and Don. Buck was a great guitar player himself. So, okay, having said that, one of my old songs. All my friends say I should leave you alone. You've got a heart like a stone and a wondering eye, and I know that they're right. I can make up my mind not to see you again, but you move through my dreams like the wind. It's no good to pretend it won't happen again, 'cause it'll happen again. Some fools never learn. They play with the fire and you're gonna get burned. It's only love when you're loved in return. Some fools never learn. Some fools never learn. 'Cause baby, I tried, but I'm just not that strong. Yes, I knew all along, but that's not enough. I was falling in love, and you don't know it, but I came over tonight. There was somebody's car parked outside. Damn my eyes, damn this heart of mine. I drove off into the night. Some fools never learn. They play with the fire and you're gonna get burned. It's only love when you're loved in return. Some fools never learn. Some fools never learn. Somewhere in the city tonight, there's a girl and she's lonely like me. She'll be easy to see. that look in her eyes, and she'll be feeling that way. I see it all plain as day. Oh, I'll never be what she wants me to be. Oh, but lucky for me, some fools never learn. You play with the fire and you're gonna get burned. It's only love when you're loved in return. Some fools never learn. Some fools never learn. Some fools never learn. Oh yes, John Scott Sherrill wrote that song. I always wished I'd written that one. Damn my eyes, damn this heart of mine. There's a new exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame. It's a Felice and Boudleaux Bryant exhibit. One of the architects of certainly the country songwriting team. They wrote so many hits for the Everly Brothers and everybody. Bob Luman. Let's Think About Living. Tons of Everlys. You name it, they've written it. This wonderful songwriters. They wrote this song, and I've been asked to do this a couple times, so I recorded this, and I think I stole this from Chet Atkins because I know he used to play it. When I worked with him, we would do it. But I can hear Kentucky calling me, whispering through my halls of memory. A bluegrass field, a maple hill. I loved her then, I love her still. I can hear Kentucky calling me. Front porch dreamers picking old guitars, bony hound dogs singing to the stars. The sounds and seeds I left behind are evergreens upon my mind. I can hear Kentucky calling me. Dreamers picking old guitars, bony hound dogs singing to the stars. The sounds and seeds I left behind are evergreens upon my mind. I can hear Kentucky calling me. Ooh, I can hear Kentucky calling me. Yeah! Woo! I remember Sonny and Bob Osborne did that song, man. They killed it. Oh yeah, by the way, Boudleaux Bryant, they wrote Rocky Top, so let's see, where are we? I want to do a song. I tell a little story on this song. This is a very cool story. This was a highlight for me this past year. last 8 months or so. My good friend Bobby Tomberlin, who is an incredible songwriter, written so many hits, he called me up. A mutual friend, Ron Harmon, he helped us. We had access to a Dottie West notebook, a song that had a lot of her songwriting in it, some bits and pieces of lyrics, one of her notebooks from the 60s. And Bobby called me and says, man, I've got access to this. They want us to write something if you want to do it. And, so I told Bobby. Bobby, of course, knew of my connection with Dottie, and I worked with her. She brought me to Nashville. She's the reason I'm even here. I played with her for 3 years and was friends with her right up till she passed. But anyway, I was an honor for me, and so Bobby and I both felt that way. We go in and bring this notebook out to my place, and we go through some songs, and we start looking at titles and bits and little pieces. And Dottie was an incredible songwriter. I have to brag on her a moment. She actually was the first female country artist to ever win a Grammy. I mean, that's incredible. 1964 for a song called Here Comes My Baby, which she wrote. And I don't think she ever got really full credit, although she finally was put in the Country Music Hall of Fame a couple years ago, 3 years ago, I guess, now. So rightfully so, and they got it right. I'm so glad the Hall of Fame did that, and or the people that voted her in. But anyway, I digress. This notebook that we kept looking at, it had some beautiful lyrics and nice things in it, and it definitely was Dottie's handwriting because I remember it like the back of my hand. I knew it. And but anyway, there was one particular song that we really loved the premise and the whole hook of the song. We loved it. We went with the basic idea of the song and kind of rewrote it, but it definitely had Dottie's fingerprints on it. It definitely had her ideas, and we took it and we finished it out, Bobby and I, and we made a little demo on it, played it for some friends, definitely friends of Dottie's. I played it for a lot of friends, and everybody really loved it. I just love this song. I love it because people ask me, what did you do last week? And I go, oh, not much. I wrote a song with Bobby Tomberlin and Dottie West. You know, their people could not believe that. I tell them the story. And so anyway, a lot of Dottie's friends got in contact with me, and they were telling me how much they liked it and my little demo that I made. And so I got a call from Bobby one night, and he said, Jeannie Seeley heard this, and she's flipping out over it and really loves it. And her and Dottie were best of friends, of course. And Jeannie Seeley is an icon, a treasure in country music for all of us, as you know. And so she called me and she said, I love this song. It's so good. It's so Dottie, too. And she goes, I'm getting ready. I don't know if anybody knows it, but I'm getting ready to cut a record. We're going to do a new album, and I'd love to cut this. I didn't even know she was recording, and she went in and cut it, and I was thrilled and honored that she asked me to come down and sing on it with her. I sang backup, of course, and just some backup parts, harmony. And it's just, she killed it. It's beautiful. I could never do it like her, but I thought I might sing it for you tonight. It's the idea. Now listen to this idea. Dottie West had this idea. It's about a person going through their life and just kind of going through the motions and living their life. They're not happy, but they're and the whole hook of the song is, I just go on living, if you could call it that. And that killed me when I heard that. And so anyway, I'll do my version of it. Jeannie Seeley, her new album is coming out in August, and it's called An American Classic is the name of her album. And it's got a duet with Willie Nelson on it, and it's going to have some really cool stuff. So if you get a chance, Jeannie Seeley, An American Classic. And she is an American classic for sure. But I'll do you my version of our song, if you could call it that. I get up every morning, have my coffee, and gather my things. Jump right in the same old traffic. Welcome to my routine. Down at work, I hear a voice. How you doing? Someone asks. I just go on living. living, if you can call it that. 5 o'clock it rolls around, I meet up with some friends. I try to smile, but all the while it's just pretend. Another glass of wine, a few more jokes, I'm having a blast. I just go on living, if you could call it that. I'm just going through the emotions, half of me's still with you. It's like I'm stranded out on the ocean, and you're not here to pull me through. I'm like a little child who's lost and can't find the way back. I just go on living, if you could call it that. I'm just going through the emotions, half of me's still with you. It's like I'm stranded out on the ocean, and you're not here to pull me through. I'm like a little child that's lost, can't seem to find the way back. I just go on living, if you could call it that. I love it. Can't wait for Jeannie Seeley's album to come out. An American classic. I want to hear that Willie Nelson duet. You know, Jeannie and Willie they've been friends for a long, long time, and can't wait to hear that duet. I want to hear Jeannie tell some Willie Nelson stories, is what I want to hear. I bet those are good. From the 60s, are you kidding me? By the way, I want to say thanks to my buddy Clint Black, who was our special guest last week. Week before was Garth, and Clint was kind enough to come in last week and tell some stories and talk about his new album. And I'm honored to be a part of it. I've got co-wrote some tunes on there with Clint, and the title track, "America's Still in Love with You," is the title track. And he's been on some TV this week promoting that. It's available now. You can get it, but his album is called Out of Sane, S-A-N-E, Out of Sane, and it's going to be available. I don't know, Karen, do you know when it's available?
June, and pre-orders are now.
Yeah, you can buy. Yeah, okay, you can pre-order it now and be out in June. So, yeah, get that. It's really got some cool songs. There's a song on there that I wrote with Clint. I might have talked about it. We did, I'm sure, last week, but I'll remind you because it's my favorite probably song that Clint and I ever wrote. It's called "A Beautiful Day," and it's from the movie Flick of Two, and which Clint was in, and let's see who else was in that movie. A lot of there's some big stars in that movie, but anyway, I was proud to see our song scroll at the end of the movie with the credits. It was very cool. So I'd never done that before. That was a first for me on that. So "It's a Beautiful Day" is the name of that song. So. tell you a little about that lick. I got to tell you a story. I came up with that lick, and I wrote some lyrics. I had some cool music, and I wrote some lyrics, and I thought, well, this song is really cool, but I really don't like what it's saying. Musically, I'm in love with it. With that, I did the lick, you know. All that stuff. But I didn't like it, and I could not straighten it out. And so I called my friend Alan Shamblin, and I said, Alan, I got this music I love, but I hate the... No, I don't even think I told him about the lyrics. I just said, I got some music. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. And so Alan came over, and we wrote, and I put it on mute. I had a demo going, and I put it on mute. He didn't hear my lyrics, which they really sucked, you know. But and then so we just started coming up with an idea of, with this music still, we came up with an idea of a guy he's in the city, and he's trying to get out of the city for the weekend and get out of the rat race, you know. And so it just turned out to be kind of an anthem for getting out of Dodge, basically, and going out in the country and getting away from it all for the weekend with the person he loves, I think, too. So, but anyway, so I wrote it for me. I wrote it thinking, well, I'm getting ready to record. And you know this story better than I do, Karen. But I wrote this song, and at that time, I was on Capitol with my friend Pat Quigley, was the head of the label. And I remember thinking, well, if Pat's going to love this, it'll be for my record. And I take it down and I play it for Pat, and he says, what, Karen? He says...
He called you with Keith in his office, and he said...
Keith Urban.
Your brother Keith really loves this song, and he really wants to cut it.
And you know,
so can your brother
Keith have this song? And you know, at that time, Keith he'd been flirting with some hits, but he hadn't landed on a big hit yet. He was just starting to be Keith Urban. Everybody knew that he was a star getting ready to bust open, you know, but from the ranch, you know, he was getting ready to really bust it wide open. But this was really maybe his very first big record, you know.
One of the
yeah, he says that, and I remember thinking, "Dadgummit, I love this song. I want to do it myself." and then so after Keith did it, and it was a gigantic hit, we all went, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't do it. I'm glad he did it." So let's see. I'm gonna kick off my shoes and run in bare feet where the grass and the dirt and the gravel on me. Going back to the well, gonna visit old friends and feed my soul where the blacktop is. Looking down the barrel of Friday night, riding on a river of freeway lights. Goodbye city, I'm country bound till Monday rolls around. I'm gonna kick off my shoes and run in bare feet where the grass and the dirt and the gravel on me. Going back to the well, gonna visit old friends and feed my soul where the blacktop is. Working in the grind is an uphill road. I'm punching like a lock and carrying that load. I busted all week and then I'm free. The weekend belongs to me. I'm gonna kick off my shoes and run in bare feet where the grass and the dirt and the gravel on me. Going back to the well, gonna visit old friends and feed my soul where the blacktop is. So give me some fresh air, give me that farm, give me some time with you in my arms. I'm far away from the hustle and the pressure and the noise. I'm gonna kick off my shoes and run in bare feet where the grass and the dirt, the gravel on me. Going back to the well, gonna visit old friends and feed my soul. I'm gonna kick off my shoes and run in bare feet where the grass, the dirt, and the gravel on me. Going back to the well, gonna visit old friends and feed my soul where the blacktop is. Where the blacktop is. Where the blacktop is. Where the blacktop is. I needed Terry Wariner on that, and Alan Love, and Duncan Mullins, and Tim Grogan, and I needed the whole band with me. Shane Hicks. I needed Shane Hicks for sure, so can't live Shane-O out. But anyway, yeah, that was proud. I got to play on that record, too. That was real fun, playing with Keith and hanging and being pals with him. That was a lot of fun. So I'm grateful, Keith, if you have a chance to hear about this or see this. Thank you. I'm still grateful, so I really appreciate it. I'm going to switch guitars. I'm glad you guys are with us. I'm glad you're here in Twangri-La, my studio.
Can I say one thing?
Oh, let's see. Okay, I guess so.
Stephen and Stephanie said to mention that we have a $12 T-shirt sale.
Oh my gosh, here comes the commercials.
I'm getting text reminding me. $12 on our T-shirts, and also we have 20% off on our whole website this whole week for Mother's Day.
Mother's Day special, is that what that is?
Mother's Day special.
There's your commercial, folks, right there. So that's great. This is a great excuse for me to drag out my guitars and play them, and I mean I love it.
We also had a bad storm this week.
Oh, we did. I meant to mention that. We lost a tree or part of a tree. It tore our fence up, and amazing, didn't it, Karen? We tore our fence up, and then we had our guy came the next morning with some of his crew, and they fixed it. They cleaned up the yard. It was bad. We lost. Actually, it sheared off. It was straight line winds that sheared off like a ton of our trees, and it tore up that fence. And then the next night, they cleaned it all up, and the next night another storm came and blew. The fence was barely hanging in like toothpicks standing there. And the next day we go out, and Karen goes, "You're not going to believe this. What was left standing of our fence is gone. It's over in our neighbor's yard." So
they're listening tonight.
John and Amanda are listening, so hopefully they are. So sorry, we're going to get that stuff out of your yard. They're great. They're fantastic neighbors. So anyway, well, we got a chance to social distance visit them a little bit too. That was fun. So anyway, yeah, that's our week. We've had 2 storms that tore our yard up and trees, and I've told this story 1,000 times. I won't go into it again, but on the album, I'll just do a quick little version of this. I cut this song in 1977. Chet Atkins produced me, took me in and cut some sides, signed me to RCA, and we cut some sides, and this record was my very first single. And it didn't do anything. I was heartbroken because I thought, well, maybe right out of the chute I'll have a hit record. Well, that did not happen. And I remember Chet Atkins saying, don't worry, Steve, you're going to get it. Don't happen the same for everybody. And I mean, I just really believed in the song, and I know Chet did as well because he loved this song. And then now fast forward to Karen, was it 1999 or 2000? I went into Capitol Records when I was cutting 2 Teardrops album and getting ready to cut it, and I played this song for everybody, and they all went, "Oh my gosh, we love it, you got to cut that." And I cut it, and it was a big hit all these years later. So Chet Atkins was right about it. And then in 2000, I believe it was a big hit again. I think it went to number 2, I think, and I was so grateful and happy. If nothing else, it proved to me that Chet knew what he was talking about. He really believed in the song as I did. And I've cut it a couple different times, but I'd love to do it for you tonight. It's called "I'm Already Taken." My little 3rd grade hand wrote "I love you" on a note of yellow paper, and sent it to the front of the row to a little blonde-haired girl. The blonde-haired girl just opened it and read it to herself, and I was so embarrassed when she turned around and said, "I'm already taken. You spoke up too late. I love somebody else, so you'll just have to wait." years flew by so quickly, and there we were in junior high. I realized that I still loved her so. So I called her up and told her exactly how I felt. Then she said, there's something that you really ought to know. I'm already taken. You spoke up too late. I love somebody else, so you'll just have to wait. So wait, I did, and never changed my love for that little blonde-haired girl who's now the mother of our little blonde-haired boy, who's to our hearts so close. I hate to think how fast he's growing up. Last night I overheard them as she tucked him into bed. He said, Mommy, will you marry me? And this is what she said. I'm already taken. You spoke up too late. I love your daddy, son, so you'll just have to wait. I'm already taken. You spoke up too late. I love your daddy, son, so you'll just have to wait. There you have it. So, happy Mother's Day, moms. My mom left us, went to heaven in 2012, so I'll be thinking about her Mother's Day. I will say that it was Cardinal Mermelade that said, a mother is she who can take the place of all others, but one whose place no one else can take. And boy, I love that. That says it all about a mother. And to my beautiful wife, Karen, I'll say Happy Mother's Day, because there's a great mother right there, and does a great job. And that's a great saying. That's one of my favorite sayings. And anyway, Happy Mother's Day to my sweet mother-in-law, Kitty. And I hope you're listening and quarantining nicely over there. I used to hear from my buddy Glenn Campbell about every Mother's Day. We would hear from him, and I would talk to him every now and then. He would call in. And, we had a song out together. I never will forget, I was in Kentucky visiting my parents up in Russell County, Kentucky, out at Sano. And I got a call one day, and it was Glenn Campbell. And he said, Glenn on the other end, and Glenn said, I got a song written by Ted Harris that I love this song. I'm wanting to cut it. And he just signed with MCA Records, was produced by Jimmy Bowen. I was as well. We were both produced by Jimmy Bowen at that point. And he said, we'll skip Bowen and we'll go in and cut this song, Wariner. And I said, sure, I'd love it. I can't believe you thought of me. And I just loved it. And, of course, singing with Glenn is really a challenge, because I realized, I go, oh, my gosh, I'm singing harmony to him on these choruses, and it's really high. And but he's the best. He was the best. And I love doing this song. After Mom left in 2012, I didn't do this song for a long time. I just couldn't do it, and just started kind of doing it again. And I miss Terry. I wish my brother Terry was here tonight with us.
He's on here, though.
Was he on there? Oh, hey, Terry. I need you, pal. And see, I would always say when with Terry, we're on the road, and I always say, Terry, you be me, and I'll be Glenn Campbell. And, on the road, I would say with Glenn, Glenn, you be Glenn and I'll be Steve Wariner. But with Terry, he's me, and then I swap and do Glenn's parts. But anyway, it's The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and there really ought to be a Hall of Fame for mamas, right? I mean, he got here red and wrinkled, scared and cried. She took him up and held him to her breast, and he sure was glad to get what Mama offered. Then he went to sleep and put his fears to rest. It didn't seem to matter what he needed. He could always count on Mama to supply. And regardless of the sleep she might be losing, she always had a twinkle in her eye. There ought to be a hall of fame for mamas, creation's most unique and precious pearl. Heaven help us always to remember that the hand that rocks the cradle, it rules the world. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. You guys have a great weekend.